Today, on our African stories and histories, let us walk through the noisy markets and silent kitchen of Nigerian, where the survival has become more expensive than hope. Oh, Nigeria. Oh, Nigeria. Nigeria, the giant of Africa. A land where the earth spits out oil, yet the children of the soil cannot afford fuel. A nation crowned the giant of Africa, yet its people now walk like weary shadows through markets that mock their pockets. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Something dangerous is growing in the silence of this nation. In the markets of Lagos, in the crowded buses of Abuja, in the restless streets of Onitsha, the same story echoes like a stubborn drum. Food is no longer food. It is now rosary. Rice now sits proudly on shelves like a king too important to be touched. Beans now behaves like imported diamonds. Bread now travel with dignity of gold. And Gary, and Gary, once the faithful friend of the poor, has now joined the rich. Yes, yes. Even the last refuge of the poor has learned the language of inflation. Even the last refuge of the poor has learned the language of inflation. But the suffering did not fall from the sky. It came signed with policies, sealed with speeches, and announced with confident smiles under the leadership of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Fuel subsidies were removed and suddenly the price of survival grew wings. Fuel rose, transport rose, food rose, rent rose. Everything in Nigeria stood up and began to climb the mountain of prices. Everything, everything, except the wages of the people. Keke driver now argue with passengers, not out of anger, but out of cheered desperation. Bus conductor shouts new fares every morning, like town cries announcing fresh suffering. Market women apologize to customers as if they personally betrayed them, because every seller is also a victim. Mother now count cups of rice like sacred treasure. Father sits quietly at night, staring into empty wallets, as if hoping for money might magically grow. In many homes across Nigeria, dinner has become negotiation. Let the children eat first. Let us manage this one. Tomorrow will be better. But tomorrow keeps arriving with a higher price tag. Tell me, Nigerians, tell me, how does a nation so rich produce citizens so exhausted? How does a land overflowing with oil create a people struggling to afford petrol? How does a land overflowing with oil create a people struggling to afford fuel? Is this the sacrifice of reform or the slow punishment of the ordinary citizens? Is this the sacrifice of reform or the slow punishment of the ordinary citizens? Because somewhere tonight, in the darkness of this nation, a child will sleep hungry, not because Nigeria lack wealth, but because wealth and the people no longer live in the same story. Nigeria still moves, the streets are still loud, the markets still shout, the buses still run. But beneath the noise, something heavy is building. A quiet anger, a silent question, a rising storm and doom. because history has shown us something dangerous. When a nation of patient people is pushed too far, even silence can begin to roar. And I repeat, when a nation of patient people is pushed too far, even silence can begin to roar. Nigerian politicians, the people has been patient enough. Do something. Do something. And finally, I ask, is Nigeria experiencing painful reform or the slow breaking of its people? And I ask, is Nigeria experiencing painful reform or the slow breaking of its people? It's a question left for every Nigerian politician. Do the needful.